Hi, Josh Sanders with The Blaze. I'm talking with Seth for Privacy, who is with Foundation, who has the Passport Bitcoin wallet. Can you tell me a bit about Passport, Seth?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, at Foundation, our real vision is to make self custody as easy and approachable as possible. We know that it can be really daunting when you first take that leap from buying Bitcoin to actually figuring out, like, how do I secure this in a way that doesn't make me want to tear my hair out with the complexity, with the new form factors, with little buttons, those kinds of things. So we created Envoy, which is a mobile wallet, which is a great first step for self-custody. But obviously, when we're talking life savings, when we're talking inheritance, you want something that's more secure than a hot wallet. So we also have Passport, which is our hardware wallet. It's a really intuitive form factor. It's kind of like an old Nokia phone with a T9 keypad. It's really easy to enter your passwords, passphrases, pins, that sort of thing. It's fully air gapped. It's fully open source software and hardware, made in the USA, and really, really easy to use. Like I said, that's a big focus for us. We like things to be beautiful, very intuitive to use. So that's a big focus. You can start off with it as your first Bitcoin wallet and know almost nothing, and we'll guide you through as much of that process as possible. We even have a concierge setup that we also sell alongside Passport that'll give you an hour with an expert in the Bitcoin space to help you with that initial setup. And then it can also just grow with you as well, because it's not just for beginners. We also have a lot of advanced functionality, things like Key Manager, which lets you create child seeds through something called BIP85, which is technical, but essentially you can make seed phrases on your Passport that are automatically backed up for your hot wallet, for your kids' wallet that they want to use, for your Lightning wallet, whatever. You have integration with things like Samurai Wallet Whirlpool, which fortunately you can't use right now. But we have a lot of advanced functionality at the same time. So we try to help people go from step one, nothing about self-custody, all the way to advanced things like coin control, child keys, etc., and let it grow with you as you go through the process.
Right. So you don't have to know all this stuff up front, right? Like you'll help guide the user through it. Can you talk a bit about self-custody and what that means for people who are unfamiliar with the concept?
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely guide through the process. And I mean, the reason why Foundation exists is because we believe that Bitcoin is only powerful when you have the flexibility to do with it what you want. It needs to be freedom money to be powerful. And it's not really freedom money if someone else gets to say when you can withdraw your coins, if someone else has the ability to lose your coins or steal your coins. We want it to be something that you are in full control of your wealth, you're in full control of your payments. So self-custody is just the concept of you actually holding the Bitcoin yourself. And in Bitcoin, what that really means is you just keep what is essentially just a very large random number safe, the private key. But the way that that's usually distilled in the Bitcoin space is a set of seed words. So 12 seed words, you remember those words, you write them down, you stamp them into steel as a more advanced approach that people do in the Bitcoin space. Or with Passport, we also have an alternate approach where you can do encrypted microSD backups. That's actually the default flow when you set it up. It'll write an encrypted file to the microSD card and give you a 20-digit PIN. You can save that encrypted file wherever you want, cloud storage, etc. It's encrypted. No one can access it without the PIN code. You write down that PIN code, save that, or you put it in a password manager or something. If you have those two things, you lose Passport, you smash it on the ground, whatever, you just get a new one, pop in a microSD card with that file, restore with that PIN code, everything's back as you had it. Your seed phrase, any accounts you've created, name of the device, name of accounts, brightness settings, everything's back how you had it. And that makes it a lot easier with that recovery process. Because that's another big thing. It can be really daunting when you're talking self-custody. And it can be terrifying to think, like, what happens if I lose this or break this? But we want that to not be a life-altering event, so we try to make it as simple as possible.
Right. So I think that's one of the things people who are new to Bitcoin need to understand. It's not like, if you buy your Bitcoin from, like, say, Coinbase, which I think where most people start at, you don't have to keep it with Coinbase. They can hold it for you, but you can put it in this thing yourself and throw it in your luggage, throw it in your pocket, wherever, and you can take that Bitcoin wherever you go, right? And you could have like $50 million in Bitcoin, and if you know the 12 or 24 word seed phrase, you can walk across a border. You don't even really need a thing like this. You can just know the seed phrase and walk from one border to the other and access all of that money, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the beauty of it is you can buy wherever you want. It's very simple to withdraw to your own self-custody. It seems really daunting, and I feel like a lot of people in the Bitcoin space have made it seem harder than it is. But like you said, if you can save 12 seed words somewhere, you can memorize them. I wouldn't recommend that being your only backup, but for something like an aggressive border crossing or something, that would obviously be a good use case. But you just save those 12 seed words. Let's say you use Envoy to get started with self-custody and Passport. You'll just hit receive, it gives you an address, you paste that into Coinbase, whatever, to withdraw. and you're done. It's really not as complicated as people made it out to be, and we try to make it even easier than many other people in the space do.
So you're talking about the hot wallet and the cold wallet, right? So Passport's what you call a cold wallet, and an Envoy, the Envoy is what you call a hot wallet. It's like a software wallet. Can you define what those mean and why you would choose one over the other?
Yeah, for sure. So I think rather than choosing one over the other, I think the better way to approach it is that, in my view, everyone needs both. So a hot wallet is essentially just a wallet where the actual private keys are on a device that's online. So that's like on your phone, you have a wallet on there. If anyone watching has used a Lightning wallet, anything like that, it's going to be a hot wallet where the keys are on your device. It's still relatively secure, but obviously if someone gets your phone, they could steal all the funds in there. Or if there was some malware or something, there's some potential for those funds to be gone. Whereas with a cold storage device, it's a lot easier to keep it secure, but it is going to be a little bit harder to spend funds. So usually the ideal pairing is you have a hot wallet. That makes it easy for you to spend Bitcoin, especially when you're at somewhere like this. I mean, at the conference, every single merchant accepts Bitcoin directly. If you had to get out your signing device every time you wanted to make a payment, it's a little bit of a pain. It's doable, and it's pretty straightforward on Passport, but obviously you usually want something a little quicker. So that's where keeping some funds for spending in a hot wallet and the majority of your wealth on a cold wallet is the ideal. And that's really one of the reasons why we built out our own app in Envoy. We could have just let people use other wallets, and we do have direct integrated support for any other major Bitcoin wallet you can think of. You can pair Passport with it and use it. But with Envoy, you get both a hot wallet with really simple, intuitive features, things like coin control for better privacy. You get that with the hot wallet functionality, but you can also connect Passport to Envoy and have both your hot and cold wallets in the same place. Though, to be clear, Envoy can't spend from your cold wallet without this. So it lets you see your balance, construct transactions, see when you receive funds, that sort of thing. Even if this is back home and you're at a conference, you can still receive funds, see balance, etc. But you can only spend from the cold wallets using this. But then with the hot wallet, you can spend from that whenever you want. So it gives you the best of both worlds and an ease of use for actually making payments and the real wealth storage that you'd want to do on something like Passport.
So it's like the difference between a checking account and a savings account, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And something where the savings account is much more protected. I mean, I feel like normally in a bank it's the same to access both, but it's a lot more secure to have funds on a cold storage device. Because like I said, this is not ever connected to the internet. It's entirely air-gapped, so there's no way that malware or something else could get to that. You can plug it into your computer, but it's a power-only port. There's actually no pins for data in here, so you can't actually have malware try to steal funds, access the private key. Compromised device isn't a problem. Someone stealing if you have this connected to Envoy and someone steals your phone, they can't spend any of your money because they don't have the actual keys that live on this device. So it's a really good pairing together.
Can you tell folks where they can get these wallets and how much does the Passport cost?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're here at the conference right now, and when this will go live, we have them here at our booth 211, and they're $189 right now. Normal price is $199 if you go on the website. Foundation.xyz, you can learn more about Passport, about Envoy. We have detailed documentation for every step of using Passport and Envoy that makes it really approachable, as well as the concierge service that I mentioned earlier. If you're new to Bitcoin entirely and you want some really kind of like white glove support to get started, that's a fantastic way to do that. And our awesome educator, Bitcoin Q&A, handles those. He's the best in the business at that.
All right. Thank you, Seth. Great information.
Yep.